Really? Yeah? You want to try that?
I just work.
Welcome to the Damaged Goods podcast with myself, Jess Robert, and recording artist, Ill Vibe. Oh, a little cork pop. This is our second episode. Welcome if it's your first time, and be sure to go check out our first episode, Craft Beer and Mom Porn, with Australian rapper Notion. Quick thank you to Ruffino Espresso. Try their classic gourmet coffee today. You can visit them at their Vaughan location or check them out online at www.classiccoffee.ca. A big thanks as well to lyricvids.com, the web's #1 lyric video animation company. Who do we have here today, babe?
I'm so excited, guys. After many emails, we have famed historian and Egyptologist, author of many books, my favorite of which is, I believe it's called Stars Over a Nation, right? Bestseller list for 6 weeks.
He's here?
Paul Fedj.
Oh, hey, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I am an esteemed steamer, and I was once in Cleveland for that same steaming conference, and this is all a where am I? Like, I walked into a hotel, I think.
It's a bed and breakfast.
It's a B&B, it's pronounced.
Yeah.
So that's
So this is actually Paul. He is from Thorold, Ontario, which is right near my hometown, Welland,
hometown
Ontario.
homie.
You are from Thorold, right? You born
You know
in
what?
Thorold?
Originally, I was born in St. Catharines, not to be confused with St. Catherine, which is the same thing. Yeah, Thorold. I moved there, Thorold, after I lived in the States for a bit as well. I mean, it's not really exciting if you're born in, but I lived just outside of Chicago, a little town called Bolingbrook, Illinois, where they filmed a Mel Gibson movie called Forever Young
Yeah,
or whatever.
I honestly can't tell if you're fucking around
I'm
right
not-
now.
I'm not fucking
because
with
I
you.
did not know you lived in the States ever. So I kind of feel
Really?
like this isn't a thing. Like
Dad's
this is
job
real.
moved around, and I'm
Oh,
like,
okay.
we went to Bolingbrook, Illinois. We called it Bolingbrook,
where
Huge
they
laughs,
filmed
laugh track.
Forever Young.
Huge
or something like
laugh.
that. It was like
No, that's a great movie. I think you're probably
Remember,
right.
He's like he comes out of the like he was frozen.
What a great
right?
movie.
There's a runway. I used to ride I used to BMX bike. I don't know. I was like 12 or something.
Sure.
And we used to go into the middle of the runway because we used to build track out there.
That's such a weird little anecdote that you gave us there, but that's one of my favorite things.
I haven't thought about it till you asked.
When someone says, you know, they made a movie in my hometown, like that's such a tragically hip line or whatever, but I love that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're a kid, you're so excited they're making a Mel Gibson movie in Bolingbrook, Illinois.
The movie was like I wasn't born yet.
Oh, it was before.
No, yeah, they were in.
Did you move there because of the movie? Or you're like such big fans of the movie that
My dad is a huge Mel Gibson fan. Actually, we do enjoy the old Braveheart quite a bit.
I bet
you
you-
know,
I imagine you do.
hold.
So what is it you do, Paul? Because you're not a historian, you're not a author or Egyptologist.
Yet.
Yes.
Like I'm only 30 years of young age,
That's
forever young age, and and let's just say I didn't have a Mel Gibson joke, but I was thinking, what's a long form for Mel? Is it Melvin?
Is
Yeah, I
he
think
Melanie?
it's-
Is he Melanie Gibson?
No, I
Melanie.
think Melvin
He's Australian.
sounds right.
Australians
Or I
all
think
have like female and male
it's
names
Mel.
swapped. That's like a thing.
That's funny.
Like, that's not true at all. But
I probably will be a historian one day, so I'm going to take all these facts you're giving me and I will write them down and somewhere.
What are you actually, Paul? Would you say you're a sketch comedian?
You know what? I am very hard to define, Jessica.
You are. That's why I'm asking.
The thing is, I've been. It's like funny. I've been funny since I survived the abortion. No,
Wow.
No, that's a heavy 2 minutes in. No,
We just lost half our listeners.
no.
But thanks, Paul.
I'm pro. Don't know.
abortion clinic podcasting is a big sector of our fan base. So I
We'll
would
give a
prefer
shout out
you,
to-
prefer you not offend those people. That'd be great. Thank you.
Sorry, we're gonna give a shout out to 221 Danforth Avenue Clinic for all of our walk-ins. It's on the second floor, but it's an A. It's weird. So yeah, to define me as a human being, I don't know. I was just I just love to. I get like a natural high, just to perform. Like this is freer in front of me as well.
Yeah.
But I always. It's my sister. When I was a kid, she used to always make me play dress up with her and her friends. And they always put dresses on me and all this stuff. And maybe that's, I think, where it formed. I was thinking about it today. I'm like, oh, they're probably going to ask me, like, who are you? And I'm like, dude, isn't the big thing about life is, like, you never find out who you really are?
Are you confronting yourself today? Is that what's happening?
It's like I'm staring into a mirror.
I wasn't ready with Howard Stern level in-depth questioning,
that was
but
a
I will
super
start preparing them.
deep answer for like, what do you do?
Well, the thing is, like,
Take your pants off. It's about to get deep.
Okay, this is deep and morbid thoughts with Paul Fedj.
Okay, let's go.
The purpose of life, right? This is like I haven't
right there.
No,
directly.
Listen, it's like there most likely is no, like, life is short, and there most likely is not a point. I'm sorry if anyone out there disagrees, but they're most like no one survived to tell us there is, and that's a fact.
Okay, that's math.
That is strictly SOGATOA would solve that math problem. What is 42?
Wow, you're so smart. It's really interesting to me that funny people are some of the smartest people I know.
But let me get you to this.
Hit me.
You're pretty far. I don't want to strike the host. One of the hosts, not the hostess.
Wow. I see you there.
Shaking that ass.
With your subtle chauvinism.
It's actually dead. It's 2018. We're oversensitive. But it's life is short. This is kind of my mantra. Is a mantra or mantra?
Either one.
Okay, so I'm gonna kick it really quick. No, this is really funny. It's not. It's very serious. Morbid, deep thoughts with Paul Fedj. We're gonna get really sexual. My mantra is I wake up every morning. It's like nobody wants to work, nobody wants to work. Basically, it's like consciousness. Like that's a beautiful thing we all have.
Sure.
All your senses are like the most wonderful things. Like why? Like smell, taste, sight, hear, like sound. Like those are like the only thing that keeps me alive. Otherwise, I'd be jumping out a window.
Sure.
Or get a book on knots and some rope from the local hardware store.
Sure.
But I'm not encouraging that at all. Because life has it. Like it's fun. Like I love food. Like do you love food?
I do love.
I love
food.
smelling. Like even though some farts are, but that's part of life. Farts.
That's true.
And then being like blind, like okay, that hinders. It sucks being blind, but you can hear. But I mean, some people should be blind. At least they're colorblind. Like there's some people out there is like everything's getting all crazy and.
So I believe what you're saying.
Yes, go on.
Is that you celebrate your connection with life, and your connection with life, as you deem it, is your five senses. Is that what it is? Is life really experienced? Do you think through the five senses?
Show me any different.
No, I
Is
hear
it
you.
safe to say that you don't want to define yourself by a career? Like when you say, who is Paul? You don't want to be like,
we asked you who is Paul, and you got to farts are beautiful.
Yeah,
I sort of feel like maybe you dodged the question by subverting through Sweden. You went really far to avoid the question.
You're gonna bring some repressed memories out here, aren't you? Damn, you're good. You're a little sterner. Yeah, I don't know how to define me. I'm sorry I went on that whole little rant.
So how does somebody interact with you? If they wanted to come see you do your thing, what do you do? Even if it's not defining you.
Okay.
What is it you do in your physical body when it goes out in the world and it entertains and it performs? What do you do?
You use that, like all the energy you got built up, and you bring it with you. Like for instance, I do some live improv.
Cool.
I did do like an acting school maybe about 5-6 years ago. It was just like a plethora of subject matters from dramatic to comedic acting. We had kind of cool teachers, voice acting, cartoon kind of.
Was that in? That was in Niagara.
That was
right?
It was in Niagara College, yeah, and did everything. Then improv was one as well, and that one really hit a note for me. Mm-hmm. And improv is kind of a cool tool you can use actually in normal everyday, like you can
totally.
We're using it all the time, like thinking on your feet. It's about making choices and trying to stay positive, because if you keep going negative, you're gonna become a negative person.
Is improv your favorite performance art? I
would have to say that is yes.
So have you ever dabbled in stand-up comedy, for example?
You know what? Everyone tells me I should.
You sure?
And I'd love to. I have material and stuff.
But you haven't yet tried that particular form of comedy.
I think I'm more of a situational humor kind of person. Like I can sit in here and talk with you and have a great time. I can, but get on stage and have something that's been worked out. I don't think my mind works like
That's
that.
cool.
It might be funny to someone. I could
think
write
people's
it.
sense
Yeah, and I think there is some comedians who are your style of comedy as well, who just
Right.
go on stage almost with no plan, maybe a little bit of a plan, and then they are just
good
funny people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point. There's more and more of that where there are stand-up comedians who kind of create an ongoing improv situation that they pull from familiar territory and material every time, but they are kind of just going, off of a new stuff every time.
I'll let them up.
Yeah, please do. Domino's Pizza. But it's cool that you don't do stand-up comedy because there's a taste and fandom for really intricate new kinds of comedy.
Right.
People who got into something like Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis.
Right.
He really turned people on to weird, dry humor that had never seen that before.
Yes.
And there's other things like that. And Funny or Die really created like SNL-style sketches, but not with SNL formatting, but all these different things and that are hugely famous and popular. These are my favorite things in the world, and podcasts, and so I think you doing a very specific style of comedy, I think is why I was really intrigued by you and I kind of found out about you,
Right.
because I think that's my favorite stuff is the weird shows that are half reality, half character, or we love Portlandia,
Right.
and these are our favorite where you can't quite define it. It's sort of
Right.
part sketch, part, and you can tell they're improvising some of the lines.
Oh, absolutely, you can see that. But the thing with the sketch comedy, which is great too, which a lot of it's based off of improv.
Sure.
The good thing about improv is there's so much room for failure,
Mm-hmm.
and audiences love failure.
It's risky. It's risky comedy, isn't it?
We wouldn't laugh if, I was in a class today, and the teacher is like, and it hit a note with me. You hear it all the time. It's like failure. It's like that's what audience wants to see. Like, you don't watch NASCAR for the fucking going in circles. You watch them to fucking crash, right?
Yeah.
I mean, not really.
You watch for the circles with the potential of the crash. If nobody ever crashed, I don't think you'd ever watch.
Good show. Hey, that
Yeah.
guy changed a
Right?
fast tire. Wow, brilliant.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
Oh, how fast did you get that gasoline in the car?
Do you know what I was just thinking about? Also opened my eyes to the line between scripted comedy and improv comedy. And this is really stupid. And if you're like an OG like film critic, you're going to be like, oh, that's so lame.
Right.
But do you remember the closing credits of Superbad where you got to see the two guys improvising all the different lines from the movie?
Yeah,
And
that
they're laughing and they're trying different versions out. That was the first time that I feel like somebody had fully revealed, like, hey, we threw 1,000 lines at the wall and we picked our favorite ones.
Linorama, right? The Linorama.
And that was opened my eyes to it. And I think for a lot of other people, it educated them. So the next time they watch Jonah in a movie, they're going, oh, he's making these up as he goes.
And you fall in love with that, and that's the
Yeah.
thing with comedy. Like
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on as well. I made a show in 2009 called Schizo. And this show, 2009, I'm trying to think what was like around that time. Like, was it like Chappelle's show around the 2008?
remember.
I mean, either. It's,
I think it would have been like super bad era,
that
right?
era. So we made this show, and 2009 is not too far ago, but it's almost 10 years.
Yeah, almost 10
So we made this show. It's like we improvise everything. Basically, it was us young kids. We met some Jason Lupish and Adam Stevenson. I met them through acting school, and me and Melody, we used to film. So what we wanted to do is to create a show that was improv based. In a sense, we edited it. Is edited a word?
Yeah.
We edited the show,
Edited it.
and so and this thing is our first episode was like 7 minutes. And it's like, nowadays you cannot put something online that's 7 minutes long.
He says on a
can't watch
2-hour
it.
podcast.
Yeah, on our 2-hour podcast.
But
For anyone who's just listening, he dramatically looked into the camera, but this is also an audio
oh
podcast.
right,
so.
yeah. I picked my nose and ate it 3 times.
Yeah.
Okay, counting.
In the corner?
Yeah, we talked about, in a small way, Jess and I are huge comedy fans. When someone's like, hey, Ilya, I recommend the new Dave Chappelle special, I punch them in their face because I'm like, I know, I saw it the minute it came out. I'm a super fan. I watch all of the comedy I can get my hands on.
So dramatic.
No, but you know what I mean. The idea being that if you think I haven't heard of Kevin Hart, you're crazy. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm a
Yeah,
huge fan. You know
who?
what I mean? Yeah, exactly. But we're huge comedy fans is what I'm getting
Right,
at. This is the
right,
point I'm making.
right.
And so we have so many pipe dreams of, comedic writing. I wrote a screenplay for like a comedy movie. Jess has like little notes for jokes. And we just never really had we respect the craft too much to half-ass it, so we've never really fully plunged and gotten into comedy. And so this podcast has kind of been our toe in the water of, having some material ready and being able to riff and create hopefully content that makes people laugh. And we went to the comedy, my favorite comedy club in Toronto recently, the Comedy Bar. It was amazing. It's always amazing. Go check it out if you're in Toronto area and you love comedy, go check it out. But I felt cool being in the comedy scene. Even in us being kind of a part of it, even if it's one kind of little pebble toss part of it, and but when you're a little pebble toss,
Throw that pebble.
there you go.
That was a tear. I hit the cymbal.
You have the chance to grow, and we're small right now, but we could maybe grow, and so we're really excited to be throwing that little pebble in the comedy pot.
Was that
Sorry, listeners, you can't see him.
Yeah, I appreciate
was
you.
that
doing
Comedy Bar shout out conflict of interest because you work with Second City, or are you?
The comment? No. They all. The cool thing about Toronto compared to Niagara, like they're trying to build a scene in Niagara right now. The Improv Niagara. The girls there in Improv Niagara.
Is that with my sister?
That's with your sister.
That's with
Dina.
my sister.
They recruited
Dina
me.
Senior.
Shout
Shout
out
out.
to
Because of you.
sister.
That's awesome.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think we were I was watching your Snapchats, and I think my sister was like, "Would Paul ever do improv?" And I was like, "I think he would."
I think Paul does improv every minute of every day. You just got to get him in a room.
I is a vowel, by the way. Go on.
Yeah. So did you have a show at Second City tonight, or
No, so what it was, because I did all this, I did a lot of the improv back in the schoolage in like 5-6 years ago, but and I've been doing. And your sister scouted me out from the interweb, either markzuckerberg.com or the Instagrams. And then I'm like, okay, I know I've always been kind of into the improv, and I always loved it. But and then I'm like, you know what? I met a guy in the class, Drew, who is a comedian as well, Drew Hayes, and he's like, oh, I'm in. Oh, sorry. I get nervous and I play with my. This is how I talk. I just put my hands up here and don't mind if I just start typing on your keyboard.
it's fine. Sorry, you met Drew.
Yeah. Anyway, long story boring. He's like, oh, I'm taking classes at Second City. I'm like, oh, for what? It's like improv. I'm like, I wouldn't mind taking some classes there. Just refresh my old memory box. They don't call it that anymore. They call it a brain. And so I started taking classes there. So there's like an A through an E, and I'm taking I gotta go through all like I was doing improv with people, and I was breaking rules I didn't even know exist. And so I'm like, I should probably learn what those rules are.
Sure.
Just to get like and that's okay. I'm
And if you're going to perform improv with other improv actors, I think you need to kind of speak the same language. So at
Yeah,
the very
for
least, you're going to learn the language so that you can get on the stage and do your thing, because you're a really funny guy. And if you don't hit no stages, nobody will know that.
So going back to Schizo, so that was a show that you did in 2009, and then you took a hiatus from it.
yeah.
And now it's back, correct?
Yes. It came back a couple of years ago. We started. What we did was like, all right, let's make this serious. We got like 5-6 writers. Sure. We want to write everything. But how we started the show is like we just wanted an excuse to drink. So that's how I put it. They might disagree with me. And cheers. Excuse to drink, because it's like we filmed something and then it was like, all right, so let's have a drink. It's like, so if you want to drink, you want to film something today? It's like, fuck yeah, let's deserve that drink. That's a bad way to put it. They all will disagree.
No,
I'm just kidding, but
That's a great way to put it, because to me, just drinking for no reason isn't good. So at least you can like reward yourself by being like, hey, we're gonna do this today, and then we're gonna drink, or we're gonna drink during, or whatever it is. I think
drinking
if you're going to be
during-
drinking anyways, you might as well do something productive with your time.
But
right?
really, the fact was that it's that we want there's 4 of us that wanted to do something, and now like we did all these writers together. And the thing is, we wrote we had you can have ideas for days, right? Think about how many ideas you think of in a day for a song,
Totally.
Or you have a beat that's like that beat's great, but you never end up using it because there's so many different avenues and alleyways that can go down. Rancid, and so now it's like. We kind of started it how we used to. Like we brought it back. Well, we're start filming. So what we're gonna do is we're filming a bunch right now.
Sure.
And I don't know if you've seen like some posts and stuff. I'm dressed up as weird people with wigs, and you got Jay and you got Erica there, who are absolutely brilliant. And they're the ones that make me look good. They're the ones that edit this. And it's not even about me. Like we want everyone involved in this. It's not a microphone, Paul. It is. Cute. And so we're kind of bringing it back to the roots. Like let's just film. the fact that we're getting together and we want to do something creative,
Yeah.
like, that's all you need.
That's a great lesson.
Yeah.
Because I know with us, with this podcast, we talked about it for a really long time. And then it's just hard to get off the ground. And then what it's really about is pulling the trigger and then learning as you go. Because if you don't ever pull that first trigger, you can really kind of theorize about wanting to do something forever. You know, if you want to be an actor, but you've never taken an acting class or gone to an audition, it's really an idea in your head.
Right.
If you want to be a comedian and you've not sat down and written down a joke and thought, I'm going to work on this joke to make it the best version I can, and then go tell it in front of people, then it's just an idea in your mind. And we all have so many of those ideas in our mind, and if you don't ever do them, they never become something real. And this podcast, here we are in episode 2. Right. This has been a dream of mine for a long time. It's fun to see it become a thing. We got our first bits of, I don't want to call it fan mail because it's just peeps listening and having convos, but from somebody in Pittsburgh, Northern Indiana, from someone from Australia.
No way.
And it's like just the first couple of sort of responses from the world, but it's cool because that's feedback that says, hey, you guys took the time, you put up the fucking wallpaper, you booked some cool people to come on and like tell me shit, and you made a podcast, and now, you know, here's a reward, I'm listening, yo, what's up? Because even just that little moment of like, hey, what's up, wanted to say I'm listening, like I showed Jess, we were out, and I was like, look, Northern Indiana, what's up? Like, that's so cool to me, you know?
Before we get too deep into anything else, can people find Schizo content right now, or is it just still early in the works?
The new better stuff.
Yeah.
It's currently on the works. I mean, we have an Instagram page, Schizo TV.
There you go. That's a good start.
We're just posting kind of what we're filming right now. So I don't know. Like, there's a couple of like short little stuff of us like behind the set, or you do those little story modes.
Sure.
That's new. I'm sure like you watch this in 10 years, you'd be like, story mode. Life is a story mode, bro.
But people who are interested could follow you on Instagram.
Yes.
At Schizo TV.
I believe it's Schizo TV.
And they can stay tuned into the show when it comes out, right?
Absolutely.
Know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Know what I'm saying?
it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
I fuck with it. I like your energy, man. You're a really funny dude. Whenever you see...
Oh, see ya.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Whenever you see like my favorite comedians, the Jim Carrey types and the Robin Williams types, and they've got that funny energy where you can really see very quickly that comedy is one of their skills. When I met you, it was like within 5 minutes, I said just like, this guy's fucking hilarious. And you've got that same energy. You remind me of some of my favorite comedy minds. So
that is hard to digest. I don't know how.
Hey, that doesn't mean I haven't seen any of your work yet. We'll see if Schizo's good. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Schizo is horrible. I have no idea. But you are funny, and I hanging out with you, I hear you riffing on ideas, and you think the same way that I do, and the way a lot of comedy-minded people do, where it's like trying ideas out, and you take words and you bend them, and you're like, hey, this pun could be funny if we flip it this way. And that's kind of how I work as a rapper, slightly different. And I could feel it from you right from that first jump. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, like where's the thing
with
is,
the
like,
joint in my hand, I'm fully, and with you know what I'm saying, I'm fully in my
Are you
in my
passing
zone
that, or
right
just
now.
like throwing it at me
Both.
physically? Yeah,
Both.
And you're saying that, and the thing is, like, everyone's like, oh, what's your secret? It's like, well, that is the secret. There's no secret. Just like you said, like they're scared, like, oh, you're bending stuff. Like, what's comedy now? What is comedy? You know who ruined comedy, but like brilliantly, is Tim and Eric. Like, they came out, and anything that was out, any content on the internet,
You love them,
they're great. I only discovered them a couple of years ago, and I was still doing like stuff, and they've been out for like 2-3 years, and I heard of them, and sometimes as like being like a comical person, or like to entertain and be an entertainer, you don't want to. Sometimes you're in your head, you're like, I don't want to see anything else that's funny, because I don't want it to ruin my funny. I don't want it to ruin my outlook on stuff.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But then I'm like, no, you should look at. Then sometimes my head's like, yeah, you should look at everything. Look at everything.
So the answer is either take nothing in or take everything in, and that way you're not just influenced by one person's voice. You kind of get evened out.
Yeah.
What do you think about? Because I know me and Jess were talking about this earlier. Yeah, the joint keeps going out.
Sorry.
What do you think about Jim Carrey? Because we're really intrigued by him and fascinated by him. Because obviously, super genius, especially in our era. He's one of the best character actors, comedic actors of our time.
Absolutely.
Created amazing concepts and premises. Yeah, that's fine. He's just one of those guys who's, to me, is an all-time genius in that field. And then he just kind of disappeared for a little while. And the next time I saw him was he went viral on Twitter for spray paint. His wife had just recently left him. I think Jenny McCarthy, maybe. I don't know. I don't kind of indulge in like celebrity divorces, but he had been recently divorced.
Yeah, I
and
don't
Recently?
he spray painted this crazy word like bazoinga, I think, or zoing or something like that, all over his fucking mansion, on the garage. He's just pictures of him like taken
I
by
don't
the neighbors.
remember this. This
He's
is-
just out
No,
in
me
his
neither.
driveway, like in his boxers.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was Boeing. I think it might have been Boeing, and the eye always had like a spiral for the. And I just remember seeing that and thinking like, oh, geniuses lose it eventually. And then more recently is the woke video that went viral. Him on the red carpet and he's walking circles around the
yeah.
girl
Yeah.
and he's saying some really intriguing psychedelic things that are right on the line of crazy or genius. And that's why it went viral, because you can't, even when you watch it, you can't decide, has he lost his mind or is he the only one who knows what's going on? And then the last thing I'll add into this rant about Jim Carrey is then we saw his episode, Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee with Jerry Seinfeld. And if you haven't seen it, and if you haven't seen it, who's listening, it's on Netflix. It's like a 6-minute episode. I highly recommend watching it because you really see he is a next level, like comedic mind who's kind of eating itself, and he's gone a little crazy. But at the same time, he feels like he understands what is real and true, maybe more than any other celebrity I've ever seen on Netflix. And some of the stuff he says to Seinfeld when they're walking around his art studio, because now he's this painter.
I've seen that.
It's
yeah.
just like,
It's cool.
he's just really a dude who's connected with truth. And anyways, that's my take on Jim Carrey. And I'm really intrigued by this thing that is aging Jim Carrey. And as somebody who reminds me a little bit of that comedic vibe, what's your take on Mr. Carrey?
Well, first of all, all I got from that was basically how did it go from Crackle, getting cars with comedians, like to like Netflix?
Money. Seinfeld's getting that Netflix
What's
money.
Crackle? Is Crackle like
That's where it started. That's
I
why
don't know,
it
but it's
started.
not that Netflix money.
Crackle, what happened, man? You lost the car comedian
What is
coffee
it actually?
coffee.
You
Is
lost
it
your,
kind of
like,
like
big
a
show.
Netflix, a really small Netflix?
That was it.
Is that the idea?
That was it. They got like old.
Web-based, I think.
Okay.
They got like the bad Broken Lizard movie that no one watched.
Now, that's not kind of where I was going, but
Yeah, I know. I'm
no,
sorry.
but no, it's okay because that's how I said that too. As soon as I saw that come on Netflix and they put all 40 episodes up there, and I said, Seinfeld sold stuff he had already made for like $100 million.
Yeah.
That's
no, yeah,
amazing.
it was
Yeah.
pre-made content. It's not like he made it.
It would be like
special
us
for
making
Netflix.
100 of these and then
Yeah.
selling it to Netflix.
After some people have already listened to it.
It's been out for years.
Wait, it's got to go to Crackle first.
Go
and
to
you make
Crackle.
double money.
Let's contact Crackle, babe.
That's
that how that money
honestly,
works?
I love money so much, and when I see somebody like that flip this thing that he's already kind of made his little bit of money on, and it's all like it's just a kind of thing to stay current for Seinfeld. That's really what it was. In his old years, he couldn't completely disappear, so he made this little 5-minute show that's easy to make. It's literally the easiest show to make on the
Sponsored by
planet.
Acura, if I'm not mistaken. They did like a huge sponsor.
Yeah,
the
when he
first-
sold it to Netflix, I was just very impressed. That's a gangster move.
Yeah, because he just got it's a lot of.
Do you guys want to talk current events? Can I tell you about the news I read today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the
us.
first one. And this is funny. I found this. This is the light, funny one.
There's a lot of build-up, so it better be really funny.
It's great. KFC in the UK, 600 stores closed. Why? Because they ran out of chicken.
What?
Oh, I think I read some about this.
KFC all over the UK today closed 600 stores at the same time because they ran out of chicken. They have a new chicken supply partner, and they dropped the ball, and 600 stores closed. If we lived in the UK, you'd already know this because right now in the UK, people are freaking out. 600 locations
Interesting.
closed. Yeah, what do you think? That ever happened to you? I went to McDonald's once and they said we're out of beef.
So
That's
I
a
don't
real
understand.
story,
Is it
too.
specifically in the UK
When
they're
is-
having like a
Yeah,
chicken
'cause they-
supply problem?
Yeah, because I guess they get their chicken from a different supply route than let's say the Welland KFC.
Do they go by boat or what's their mode of transportation for the chicken?
I don't know. It's a good question. Is it a boat problem?
Yeah, that's
Or do they do like Operation Dumbo Drop style out of a
yeah.
plane?
I love
Oh
how
my
you just
God.
belched into the microphone.
Listen,
there.
authenticity.
that was an Operation
Real.
Dumbo
This is
authenticity.
real
drop.
shit.
That was the best drop I think I've heard in probably a whole minute.
Yeah?
Yeah, probably
What do
a
you
whole
think?
solid min. You should
Dude-
time this.
Can we Operation Dumbo Drop anything to anywhere?
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Hey,
That's how we deliver merch.
Guess what?
That's how we deliver damaged goods merch by
what-
Operation Dumbo Drop.
that's how I describe my last poo.
100 points for Paul. He's on the board with a poo reference.
I am.
All right.
taking a
So
gold
news
star.
headline number 2 for the day. BP, I believe that is is it British Petrol?
Boston Pizza?
No, it's not Boston Pizza. It's the petrol company, the one that did the big oil
Sounds
spill,
made
etc.
up, but go
No,
on.
so no, it's British Petrol. I believe it's British Petrol.
Paul's skeptical.
They did their annual like investor report that they do for their investors in the oil company.
Annually?
They do it annually, not annually. There's an important U in that word.
Like the word colonel?
Yeah, exactly.
Colonel? Like, go on, sorry.
So they do this annual report for their investors, and what they do is they project future years in terms of like what's going to happen in the market, which would impact the price of oil and would impact how much money they're making for their partners, etc.
Right.
Make sense?
Right.
So here's what's interesting. For the first time, their report says that they believe that self-driven vehicles and electric vehicles by 2020 and 2030 will essentially have taken over the world. And because of that, less kilometers per person will be needed. And therefore, for the first time, oil use will start to drop. Sometime around 2030, we will hit peak oil use on the planet, and it will start to come down for the first time in modern time.
It's always so crazy. So were you making up the dates? Because it's
No,
always
it's based on those are the. And again, I'm generalizing a little, but it is the 2020, 2030 that they say they're going to hit that
Paul
peak oil.
is
It's
still
always so-
skeptical.
Yeah, it's always so crazy to me when it's so soon because 2020 is only 3 years away, and it's just like I don't feel like we're anywhere near to self-driving cars. I've never seen one in my life.
No,
Do you know
but
what I mean? Like,
keep in mind that right now, all the major automotive manufacturers, like over the last year, have kind of one by one been showing their new self-driving vehicle that's coming next year, 2019. Like they're all kind of hitting those. And when they
Yeah,
come to
for
market,
sure.
they're going to take over. And what this report said is that they think the minute they're available on the market, they're expensive and they solve a financial crisis for companies like Uber and Lyft. So they think that Uber's essentially going to buy 90% of the first available self-driving vehicles.
Right.
Because it basically drops the cost of Uber by half.
That's crazy.
And so that will basically everybody will get comfortable with them by driving around in Ubers, and then as we go buy our cars, we'll start buying self-driving vehicles slowly, one at a time.
You know what's weird about that? Why have they? Just a crazy side note. Side note with Paul Fedj.
Side note with Paul Fedj. Okay, go.
Every year they start making cars a year before it comes out. Like soon it's gonna be 2025, and we're gonna have the models for 2030 available 5 years before they're
That's
made.
not true at all.
Side notes with Paul. There's
No, that's not true at all.
Post production.
I don't.
That's not true. That was a commercial. Didn't you? The side notes with Paul. That's when my brain's like bubble.
Okay. No, I think it's
bubble
just a
land.
year. I think it's just 1 year in advance, right?
Yeah, I know, but when
It's just
when
one-
they
it's just
started
gonna
doing
continue
this,
to be
It's just one
and
year.
also it's going to start turning into like, have you seen this boy?
He's going to go missing next year.
Could I steal some Coca-Cola from you?
Can I insist?
Should I say that out loud? Is that illegal?
No, yeah, that's fine. I'd like to talk about an app that I heard about. Actually, I have more than one app. One I use, one I don't.
It's app. We need to create an app segment name for when you talk about apps. Paul,
Yeah,
can you
'cause-
think of a good app segment name for us?
An app segment game?
So this is like it's basically just talks about apps.
So what would that be called?
Oh, Jappy.
No, that sounds racy.
That sounds racist.
That sounds racy.
Well, I didn't mean it like that. You guys said it. That's the world. See, that's the world's mind spinning.
Okay, you got something for us? Or
Okay, yeah, I do.
Is your improv skills not?
Ah, you
they're
licked me,
fucked up
dog. Was that a good?
Sorry.
No, it's okay. The dog's cute. Jess's app for what? What does your app do? Can I ask?
No,
you?
no,
Can I have
so-
3 questions?
Yeah, here we go. So let me tell you what it's going to be. It's going to be a segment, most podcasts, where Jess talks about new app things because she hears about apps. She
New
gets
apps I
excited
heard
about.
It's not
apps.
my app.
App schmear.
Okay,
App Schmear.
It's App Schmear with Jess Robert. Let's go.
Okay, App Schmear.
App schmear.
All right, so Be My Eyes is the new app that I heard about. This is an app for blind people.
They done needed an app
And
for a long time.
Basically, non-blind people download this app, and whenever a blind person needs help, let's say they're at the grocery store and they don't know whether it's like the whole wheat noodles or the white noodles or whatever, and they'll be like, "Hey, can you tell me which one this is?" And they'll basically like FaceTime it or whatever, and then a non-blind person will be like, "Oh yeah, that's the whole wheat one," and they'll be like, "Okay, thanks." Isn't that kind of cool? Like, I guess that's just like life, but I think the idea is that there's lots of users, so that anytime that they log on to it and say, "Hey, help me," there's like 100 users on there, or thousands ideally, I guess, and they would be like, "Oh yeah, I can help. That's the whole wheat." You know what I mean?
App schmear by Jessica Roberts. Thank you.
What's really interesting to me is so many apps. Essentially, what they are is, let me move this Coca-Cola bottle because we do not make any money from Coca-Cola.
Take that. That's actually Pepsi inside of a Coca-Cola.
That's right. It's actually RC Cola in a red suit. But so many apps, essentially what they are is crowdsourcing times something, right? So Uber's crowdsourcing times vehicles, Airbnb is crowdsourcing times apartments, and you can kind of fill in that blank, and you can create all these different apps. This is literally crowdsourcing times eyeballs. But it's really interesting that we keep seeing these different things pop up, but the real power is in the crowd. Because if you've got 10,000 people willing to do anything and put all their information in one place, that's powerful AF. That's more powerful than any one thing ever in history. And so, yeah, if it's 10,000 people with cars willing to drive you around, or 10,000 people willing to look at something and tell you what it is, that's really interesting and powerful.
10,000 atomic bombs.
Can I?
That's not good. That's not powerful at all.
Well,
Don't even,
is it?
why would you even speak that into existence? Unspeak it.
I'm not gonna.
Okay, good.
Can I tell my second
The
app?
app schmear continues.
Okay.
App schmear with Jess.
Segment 2.
All right. I use this
After
app.
the beep, Jess. Let's try that again from the top. From the
okay.
top. Beep.
I use
No,
an
it should
app.
start with app schmear. Let's start. Okay, can we get that again? And can you turn Jessica's left microphone up in the air? Dave Chappelle, thanks. Beep. App schmear. Beep.
So the other app is called Shaper, and it's essentially it's like Tinder. So where you find, I'm sure everybody knows what Tinder is, where you find you swipe past different people and see people you're attracted to, blah blah blah.
Never
so
heard of it.
Shaper is like that, but for business. So basically, you just swipe past people and think like, oh, they're also in the music industry, or they're also in marketing, or
Definitely,
whatever.
there's no sexual harassment coming from this app.
So yeah, so that's the funny part is that so I use this app and I feel kind of like guilty when I use it because I'm kind of only guys have messaged me so far, and they're just kind of like, oh, like let's meet up and talk about our business ideas and
Wait,
like
business.
Yeah, so it's just for business, but it's just like
Sometimes I call my dick the business. Maybe that's what they mean.
Oh man, that's the name of my album. Now that my album's called Illy's Dick. Oh my god.
do you
The problem is Tinder has kind of taught people how to use these apps.
Yeah.
So same thing happens with Bumble and stuff, where it's like, hey, I'm just here for friends, and someone's like, I'm here to fuck.
well, Bumble. Oh yes, there's
Bumble is a
BBF.
honey. Is where
Okay,
you find
but
local
I
honey.
don't know. I've never used them, but you know
So,
what
yeah.
I mean. The
So
idea
Bumble
that-
is Tinder essentially, but then there's also Bumble BBF,
But
which
then
is just for finding
The
friends.
non-DTF apps end up becoming DTF, down to fuck,
BFF.
for all my people who don't watch Jersey Shore still in 2018.
You're aging
You have
yourself.
a big audience too.
I know. Literally everybody unsubscribed with that reference.
Our Jersey audience.
I can hear it.
But the idea of like just messaging like you trying to fuck, that's what Tinder sort of became. I don't know. I don't use it anymore, but that's what people, all the complainers say. And so then you hear about the other platforms kind of becoming that. I think because all the users from Tinder go try the other apps and they go, this is the technique I used to get pussy twice before. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
even the friend apps kind of become.
So I think I'd like to
technique,
do I'd like to do a new segment with Shaper in the future. I don't have one today, but in the future I'd like to read my Shaper messages,
Okay.
and you guys can tell me like
Ooh.
cock or business or something like that. We'll have to think up a clever like.
Like, wow.
What's something
Imagine
else that rhymes?
Imagine the possibility. You can like just like swipe right.
Jizz or biz?
Jizz or biz? Oh my
Jizz or
gosh, that's
biz.
great.
Yeah, okay.
So jizz or biz. So we'll do a
I
Shaper
love that I said
segment.
jizz or
I'm
biz.
all over
And where-
jizz and biz.
And my
Oh.
fiance said, that's great.
No, that
their
is
slogan.
great. So I'll read my messages from Shaper. They're mostly from men that talk about wanting to meet up to talk about business, and we'll decide whether they're jizz or biz. So that's what we'll do for next
I
time.
like it.
Yep.
So the other night we played a game. I'm going to tell you about it, Paul. I'm going to tell the people about it. It was really fun.
Tell me first though.
We play board games, and our friends introduced us to this new game. We're not going to get too heavy into it, but I thought it was really interesting. It's called Secret Hitler.
I've heard of this.
You've heard the game?
Yeah.
I've heard of
it
this.
was,
game.
it
really
was a big
cool.
like Kickstarter thing.
Yeah, I recommend
Yeah.
it. If you're into games, you should totally try it. There's a lot to learn. There's a little bit of a learning curve at first, but when you learn it, it's super fun. But what's cool about it is there's essentially people have different roles and nobody knows, and one of them is the secret Hitler. And it really brought to mind while I was playing it that like Hitler must have had some offspring, so there must be some Hitlers out in the world.
Oh shit.
Like who are the residual Hitlers?
And did they change their names?
Did they change their names? Do they know they're Hitlers? Is there a Hitler somewhere who's refusing to change his name? He's like holding strong to it. These are the questions. I
And on
have.
like a first date, like when would it come up? And then like,
Is there any
you know
Hitlers
what I
on
mean?
Tinder? This is
Yeah.
my question.
I'm Hitler. Yes. Like, hello, I'm not Hitler.
Because if you're a Hitler on Tinder, you are the true
terrible.
you're the true secret Hitler.
That's
ultimately.
terrible. Yeah, you know it's weird. Actually, funny that I remember I watch a lot of. I love history, and do I know any? Don't ask me any, please. Don't put me on the spot.
Famed
I'm a history.
historian.
Famed. Wow. Circles round, spin me right round, right, baby, right, baby. Yeah. So I watched a documentary once how they actually tracked down that there is no actual offspring left.
How, there's none? Because at the time he must have had
As far as I
cousins
know.
and stuff, right?
Great. Just squash that. Famed historian beats Illy at a historian contest.
Because this is what I thought. This is what occurred to me. If you fuck up so bad that everybody in your family changes their last name, like all your cousins and your second cousins, like everybody with your my last name is Craparata. And if this podcast gets big and my ideas are so hateful that every Craparata in every country around the world, the ones in the States and in Italy and in the USA and they all have to change their names. That's the most you could possibly fuck up.
And there's a poo joke in there, so I'm pretty sure like they're gone.
Anyways,
I meant like
that's all I have to say on that.
you know what?
You keep playing with my tickets.
I'm sorry, I don't
These
know what
tickets, for people who are watching Paul play with these tickets, these are tickets
I've been playing with
to
them. Oh.
my April 20th show in Toronto.
it's gone.
They're for you. I'm inviting you to my show if you can
Oh,
come. April 20th in Toronto, playing with my live band. We keep talking about it. It's a big deal. I'm excited.
That's so cool.
We have a guitarist. We have a bass player. We have a drummer. We even have a keyboard player who plays the keys.
No way.
Yeah, adding a little extra soul. So if you're available on April 20th, please come.
Yeah.
was
What day of
gonna
the
say
what
at the
day of the
beginning
week
and I
is that?
forgot. That's
And what day of the week is that?
It's Friday, April the 20th, also known as Faux 20 for the
420,
for the weed smokers.
Blaze.
That's cool.
I've been practicing with the band, and they're great guys and they're amazing musicians. And this will be the first time I'm ever playing live in concert with a band. I've played with bands, just not my band, where you kind of play with a couple of guys for fun. But
That's sweet. You know, you
gonna
can
be
like
super fun.
I love live band with because yourself. What kind of artist are you?
I'm a hip hop artist
Hip-hop.
primarily.
I've
A little
watched
pop,
your videos
soul,
and I love them.
Funk.
They're so
Appreciate it.
colorful.
You don't need to suck my dick
You know
right
what?
now, but at the same time, tell me all of your favorite things
Hold on,
about me.
Hold on, I got you a gift. Thanks for and I got the not just. I don't know what's open this.
Notion
Yes,
didn't
sir.
bring a gift.
Anthony can open it.
Yeah, you know what I noticed? I watched Notion.
Notion didn't bring a gift.
Notion needs to
Step up your game, bro.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. I don't know you, and
I know him, and I'm going to be honest. He wasn't
an
as
Aussie, though.
considerate. So I'm
It's pretty
opening a
cool.
gift right now, and for the audio people, I'll describe it. It's very frilly. It's very pink. Just what are these called? These are like the curly, shiny
like ribbons.
ribbons. Ribbons.
Rebellions.
Inside is pink see-through plastic.
Oh, what is
Hear
this?
that? That's the sound of quality. There's
is.
a purple. Is that also a ribbon?
Lacy
Yes, this is
almost.
a thicker ribbon.
Thicker lacy
A
ribbon.
second thicker ribbon.
You would see a nipple through that material.
That's true. You
Man or female.
Oh.
Or female and
Okay,
male.
so
Sorry.
now it's ripped and fallen into my lap, and I'm turning it around. It says "Damaged Goods 2018 First Aid Kit." Is it a first
So
aid
it's a
kit?
little box with a
it's
zipper.
a little first aid kit.
Wow.
Because you don't have one for your show, and there's no HR department, and it's called Damaged Goods, and it's not the
That's
the Band-Aids.
amazing.
So you have your,
like
you have your
Band-Aids
studio.
and stuff.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, we can put it up on the.
For now, maybe put it up on one of the
I
boxes.
covered it because it said
Yeah.
Rexall. So I put tape over it, and I put
That's
Damaged Goods.
amazing.
I'll put it up next to Shaq.
Yeah, put it up next to Shaq.
See? There you go. Happy first aid kit. Does
Perfect.
someone say that? I'm
Thank
the first
you,
to say.
Paul.
Oh, you're welcome.
I think that's a traditional gift. Like on the second podcast, you get a first aid kit.
Yeah, first
I
one.
think
My dad gave my
That
mom a first aid kit on her second podcast.
Very true.
I
How old-
have a gift
younger
for
fans?
you. It's not as extravagant and it's not wrapped.
Oh, we're exchanging
and,
gifts. You didn't. I bet you did. I bet you thought this was one of those podcasts that didn't have gifts.
We gotta start one of those videos those kids post when they what do they call them when they open gifts on YouTube?
Like an unwrapping,
unwrapping,
Yeah,
like the unveiling or
It's
whatever.
an hour long.
just in slow motion.
So these are your swim shorts that you forgot at my house literally like probably 10 years ago.
So this is back when you were making schizo the first time.
Yeah.
Listen to this. I know what day this was. That's when we went to the beach.
Yeah.
And then we lost Adam.
Yeah. Yes.
That was
yes.
that
That was
day.
an intense day.
That was intense.
Yeah. And we went to Condom Lake.
There's a picture of me in the air throwing a frisbee on the beach with these on.
Yes.
I'll find that and then you can like post it up. and they'll see me wearing them 10 years ago.
And do you know what's so funny? So many times I was like cleaning out my closet and I found them and I was just like, I should just throw these out because I'm sure Paul has a new pair of shorts by now.
And I'm sure Paul's never.
But then
coming on
I
this
just couldn't
podcast.
do it. I couldn't do it, and I'm really glad that you're reunited with them now.
I thank you
I can sleep better at night.
from the bottom of my heart.
From the bottom of your shorts.
You light that joint with intensity.
So Paul, are you sleeping over tonight?
It was I mean, is the offer on the table?
Yeah.
No,
I'd
you
love
don't have to
over.
sleep on
No,
the
yeah.
table. The offer's on the couch.
The offer's on the couch.
Man, this whole time I was like, man, I got back problems. My chiropractor doesn't take blank
The
checks.
table's only like 4.5 feet long, really, bro.
So Paul's sleeping over, and it kind of made me think that like I feel like our generation is like more sleepover-y than our parents' generation. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
Maybe it's just my parents. I don't know. But like my
don't drink
mom,
and drive.
the thought of her like going and like staying at someone's house like randomly and just like on like spur of the moment without planning it like a week in advance or whatever is like really foreign to her. And like when we tour like across Europe and stuff, often we stay on people's couches who we've never met. We'll just be like, we'll find somebody online who's maybe like also DJing the show that night or whatever. And it'll just be like, oh, do you have a couch to crash on? And we'll crash on like a dirty mattress on their
So
floor.
I think you're right. I think we are definitely more sleepovery than our parents' generation was, and further down the line. But here's a question: Why aren't we even more so? Because as an adult, I so often think about like all the things that as a kid I would have wanted to do when I got older, like big fucking like baseball games with all your friends, going camping and like a ton of people coming, like road trips. And here's the thing:
As an adult?
we do those things.
Yeah.
For these two do those things, but so many other people don't. I would say as a general rule, people don't. And when I try to gather people for something where a lot of people are going to come together for something big, fun, youthful, the kind of stuff you see in a movie, and then 2-3 people show up. It might be because I'm fucking annoying. So I'm gonna.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna
I
put that right on the table. But outside of that, because I don't think it's just with me. I think that in a lot of cases, adults aren't doing those things.
Yeah, it's just people get stuck in their routines and they just want
that
to
what it
do
is?
their
It's routine?
their regular everyday routine. They don't want to shake it.
Routine.
It's stressful to shake it up that much.
So it's-
sleeping on a couch is like, this isn't my bed.
big fun games of
This
dodgeball
is not
are
what's that
stressful.
song? This is not my beautiful car. This is not my beautiful wife.
Give you everyone do your David Byrne shoulder. We're doing David Byrne giant suit shoulder move.
is that
Like
from
one of
the
those.
video?
You know what's funny too to think about is like imagine being 60 years old. Like imagine we're all 60. It's like, hey, you gonna stay over?
But I honestly feel like
We'll be doing that though.
I feel like
Yeah,
we will.
we will. We'll have
like
cool
60,
spare rooms.
60's getting up there, but I mean, definitely for the next 20 years, we will still be like always sleeping
I'm
at
going to be
people's
60
houses,
with a YouTube
inviting
channel. Don't
people
get
to
it
sleep
twisted.
over.
I'm going to be 60 with a YouTube channel.
Oh, for sure.
Making videos, popping and locking.
I also think you won't be the only one. I think that a lot
It'll
of
be a
people
whole
from
thing.
our generation will still be doing this when they're old. So we're going to see an influx of like old people who.
Damaged Goods episode 896.
I feel weird that I haven't been watching the camera. I've just been focused.
Wait,
It's still recording, right?
I told you to stare directly into the camera the whole podcast.
I
Paul,
wasn't also talking to my microphone a lot.
Paul,
so
I
that-
trusted you to stare into the camera the whole.
I feel like this is my
we
fat
spoke
leg.
about this.
My fat leg.
You signed a contract. There was only one line
That's
on the
your fat
contract,
leg?
and it said you will stare into the camera the whole podcast.
I didn't sign anything. You just told me to spit in a cup, and then we did a DNA test.
That's the contract.
Oh man, you're gonna put my.
Anyways.
I will put your spit at a scene of a crime.
Jess, what else you got for us? Because Paul is taking us way out into left field.
Hey, I got a good left field for you.
Take us
I hope someone's gonna cut me off there.
on a trip. Or
right.
Jess got us.
All right.
you got?
I was thinking about today. What was I thinking about? I was listening to a little George Harry on the old Tron, the old goat train, as I call it.
George Harrison?
George Harrison. One of my favorite albums is All Things Must Pass.
Do you listen to a lot of old music?
Yo, actually, I want to talk about music. I've been, other than I listen to a lot of George. I love George Harrison.
Sure.
And I love who am I listening to? Arcade Fire always comes around because they're like the fucking. They have. I see they base a lot off Clash, or like I love the Clash, my favorite band. And then I've been listening to the last 3 months a lot of classical music. Like
Actual classical.
yeah, I listen to Tempo and CBC Radio 2.
Interesting.
Plug the
I feel
CBC.
like you might be a serial killer, Paul.
Yeah, I completely agree. The
Jess,
bodies are
you're
still
right.
alive, but they're.
And he's sleeping over tonight. So if we are not on Facebook tomorrow, please call the authorities.
If people are listening to this, then
If he ain't back in, if he ain't back in the morning, I'm calling Domino's.
Like pizza?
Yeah, isn't that like the joke from Full house. Half baked. Point proven.
Paul, do you have
Marijuana affects the memory.
do you have any tattoos, Paul?
I have uno tattoo.
What's your tattoo of?
Mozart.
Is it really?
No. It's Beethoven.
What is it of for real?
For real?
You don't have to tell me if you don't want
Do you,
to.
not, do you have a tattoo?
I do. I have one.
If it's a dolphin, like doing a push-up on with Jesus on its back, then you don't have to tell me that. You know.
Whoa, you just told. No, it's not. It's not that. I got it when I was 18 years old. I was in Montreal. No, I was in Ottawa.
What is it?
Okay, Paul, get to the point. It is of my last name in Cyrillic.
Oh,
It's in
cool.
Ukrainian.
That's a very white tattoo to have.
Very white.
Yeah.
All it needs actually is 2 numbers in the back, really big, and I'll be a football player.
Yeah, that's the whitest tattoo you can get.
Is it? But it's in Cyrillic. Is that white?
So do you see what that tattoo says?
Mine's in Cyrillic.
What's that tattoo? Tell the people what it says.
Your tattoo says damaged goods.
Yes, it does.
You know what else it says?
What else does it say?
Doesn't say anything else.
It says Paul doesn't fucking stop. Isn't that amazing? Like I psychically predicted that you weren't gonna stop.
And it ain't gonna drop. Aim high. Aim high.
So this is where the name of the
See what my
podcast.
tattoo says?
This is where the name of the podcast came from.
Damaged goods.
So this is the story
There's 2 of them.
for the loyal fans of the episode.
Nice.
We recently crossed 1 million subscribers. I'm speaking on behalf of us in the future, of course, because as of today we have. But today we did pass 100 subscribers, so I'm happy to
Is
say
that one more than 99 and one less than 101?
That's exactly the right number.
Oh my god, I'm so good.
But anyway, so the name of the episode, the name of the podcast, of course, is Damaged Goods, and where we got the name from is Jess has a Damaged Goods tattoo. Why do you have a Damaged Goods tattoo? Where did that come from? Because mine's based on yours.
Yeah. So basically, when I was in makeup school, I had a makeup teacher, and basically we were all kind of like these like jaded people from like these like all
jaded and
varying
cool.
like we were very jaded and
We
cool,
moved in
and we did like special
swift
effects
little
makeup.
movements.
And are you gonna
Talk to me,
listen?
Ben.
Are you
Sorry.
gonna listen?
I'm
to this?
listening, yeah.
Okay. And our teacher, our makeup teacher, used to
teacher.
always.
So I'm sorry, I won't cut off.
Continue.
Our teacher used to always say like, "Oh, you guys are such like damaged goods," essentially, like as in like we're like a weird, crazy motley crew.
Great teacher. This was a fantastic teacher of
and
the year award.
He meant
goes
it
to-
in like kind of like a positive way. Like that's the only time I've ever heard it with like a positive spin. That it's just like we're all damaged goods and we all get it. We all get each other.
Yes.
And so it was actually like. It was like kind of meaningful to me at the time. So
No,
it was
I
when I
get
was
that,
like
for
18,
sure.
19. And so I have a severed leg with some bandages on it that says damaged goods on it. And then I met this guy over here.
And I'm damaged AF.
Yeah.
And so I hear how quickly she's like, yes, everyone knows that. So
There's
I was
no hesitation. She made full eye contact very quickly.
I was touring California really early in our relationship, and when your rapper boyfriend says to you, "Hey, I know I'm gonna be in California, and I know I'm handsome, but I promise I'm not gonna go get any of that side pussy, and I'm not gonna fuck groupies."
I'm smacking the table.
Needless to say, that doesn't come off as like obviously true right away. And so, really early on, one of the things I did was like a little act of solidarity. I learned to never get a girl's name tattooed on you, just in case, even for you. Maybe I might do it now though.
Yeah.
But so I got damaged goods, which to match her tattoo. And then so when we started this podcast and we were thinking about a million names, I thought, hey, there's only one word we both have tattooed on us, so we'll go with that. So damaged
And
goods
Samantha.
podcast.
Like, who is-
That's Samantha. That's right.
Oh my god, I messed you up. I thought it was.
So that's the name. We're officially on the record.
Yes.
As to the backstory. So later on, when we're so big that there's like super fans and they've got like fan clubs.
Oh, yeah.
To join the fan club, there'll be secret question. They'll be like, "Why is the podcast named Damaged Goods?" And if you don't know the answer, then you're not really at day one or at day two, I guess. But
Yeah.
And
Day
Paul's
two's now.
Paul's just always here, and you pay him like a lot of money just like to be that third, like kind of like third Andy Richter. Sorry, Andy Richter, you're actually very funny. I like you. And because we're gonna be super famous, so I have to apologize now because like you made fun of me back in 2018. That's what he sounds like. Terrible impression.
so you're not an impressionist. We've crossed one thing off the list.
Can you do any impressions?
Oh yeah,
Paul?
I mean,
Can
give us one.
can I put you on the spot now? Like,
You have to redeem
I
yourself
like
after
to
that
do
one.
Sean Connery,
Okay, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
but only because like
Paul Fedj doing Sean Connery.
this is this is not Sean Connery. No,
That's
there's,
horrible.
there's a bit of a Mister. We know him the dog in there. I can't do him very much. He's a very. When I've been drinking, it hurts my throat to do
no,
Sean Connery.
it's good. It's good.
No, Sean's at the front door and he's really upset about this impression.
Of course, I'm here. I like some goulash. I like some goulash with my husband.
That's good.
Apparently, he's gay. My husband. I didn't. Sorry, Sean. I didn't mean to classify. I mean, that's fine.
You outed
You just outed Sean Connery.
No, he's awesome.
in your impression.
And there's nothing wrong with being gay.
Of course not.
So, Sean, feel nice that I did you you have a husband. That is future Sean Connery.
Speaking of Sean Connery, Sean Connery's in a lot of old movies, and
Yes, of course I am. My last movie was as Catherine Zeta-Jones. It was the League of Extraordinary.
what is actually Sean Connery's last movie?
Oh, it was
I don't know.
Catherine Zeta. Actually, he did some kids stuff. I did some research the other day on him. He's
You
been
came prepared, even though I didn't tell you we were going to talk about this.
not at all. You didn't? Did you text me? You said, Paul, just please
Bone up on your Sean Connery knowledge.
work on that accent. I gave you 6 years before we start this podcast, and you'll be the second guest. So that means you need to bring a gift. Fuck. Yes, of course.
Do you know what Sean Connery's most recent movie was?
His last movie was Entrapment, I'm pretty sure, with Catherine Zeta-Jones. That's why I always say that for some
Well,
reason.
if that's his last movie, I believe Sean Connery has entered the I'm too old, so I'm going to hide away so you remember me when I was young and sexy. He's entered
Yes.
that phase of his career.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Where they disappear because they
guy.
go, hey, the last time you saw me, you wanted to fuck me. Now I look like I'm 100. And so they just disappear. And then the next thing you hear, they pass. And by the way, when that happens, I'll be sad. I'm not trying to be a dick. I just mean he's entered that final stage where they disappear from the spotlight. I noticed that some of these guys do that.
He gets shot. He gets shot, and he's like
Right around
"Oh,
70 years old, a lot of them kind of disappear from the spotlight.
That's true. It's very true.
My reason for bringing up old movies is because I noticed that Anthony doesn't watch anything
That's true.
old.
It's true.
So we watch pretty much every new movie that comes
I
out.
watched
We watch
them when they were new.
But he's not one to be like, oh, this is my favorite movie. Do you want to watch that? Like, do you want to watch The Fifth Element?
Yeah,
or
no.
do you want to watch Liar Liar? Or do you want to? He doesn't rewatch old movies.
Do you? Of course you do. You look at that.
Everyone
hat.
does.
Look at that hat. Of course you do.
That hat, yes.
That's the hat of a man who watches movies over and over.
I watch a movie. Actually, lately I don't watch a lot of movies. I don't have time for
Okay,
movies.
I'm wrong then.
But do you have a favorite movie that you watch multiple times?
I mean, you can watch any. You can watch. How many times can you watch Dumb and Dumber? Like you
Right.
watch that movie.
I feel that way, but
or
Anthony.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, no.
Anthony
I can't do it.
literally doesn't
Ghostbusters
feel that way, even about movies that he loves, like Ghostbusters, for example. He liked
Now,
the original Ghostbusters.
there is a-
I don't know that he would ever want to watch it
Scrooge.
again.
Watch Scrooge
The
any
top,
further.
the top 1% of my favorite movies, I do watch over and over.
Which are
Like what?
I watched District 9 so many times.
And what's that? World War Z. You really
World War
liked?
Z, I've watched
But
so
not-
many
but not-
times.
Right here,
You're-
District 9.
You're
Yeah.
saying so many times for you, though.
No, I've
You-
watched District 9 probably like 20 times.
Really?
Yeah, I love that
Interesting.
movie.
Is that
I
weird that I
watched-
made a District 9 joke?
Okay, I'm trying
it
to
is.
make. I'm
I
trying to
watched
make an interesting point about how you're different. And
No, but I'm getting to it. I watched Planet of the Apes probably like 12 times, but it's like 5 or 6 movies. My favorite movies when they nail it so good.
The Mark Wahlberg one?
No, that's good. No, I love the newer ones.
With
No, I
James
still
Franco.
liked that
James
movie.
Franco, that
I
was
still
good.
liked that movie, but it's the James Franco ones
Yeah.
and the latest
It was cool,
trilogy.
though,
I
when he
love the
pulls
most.
into that
Yeah, I
thing
love
for
it.
the-
I love it. But other than that handful of like 5, maybe 10 movies, I cannot really sit through old movies. And I think for many people, they almost prefer that. It's like that level of like, yeah, I watch new movies too, of course, but I really mess with old movies. And for me, what it is when I've never seen it before, it's an experience. And when I have seen it before, there's a little bit more of like an act of like, oh, I know what's going to happen, so there's nothing new going to come, but
Yeah.
I'm still going to sit through it. And for some reason, that just doesn't connect that way for me.
yeah.
You know.
So, question. I have a question for you.
Sure.
If Paul said that he had an amazing movie recommendation,
I have an amazing movie recommendation.
and it's sci-fi, your favorite genre,
Sci-fi.
what year is the furthest back it could be for you to be interested in it?
So it's interesting you say that because I thought what you were saying is just watch it a second time.
No. I'm talking.
But also-
you haven't seen it.
No, but also, and because before I answer that, for people who don't know me, I also struggle with watching old movies.
Yes.
It's because I make movies, I don't make movies, but because I film stuff and I make content, when it's really old, you can almost, in the moment you're watching it, be like, green screen, miniature. Like you know what it is, and so I can't.
Yes.
I
Stop
can't,
motion.
I can't get out of my head about it, and so I can't enjoy it.
I'm
Now,
not in it.
I watched Masters of the Universe ironically and loved it, but I have to watch it ironically. I can't watch old movies and be like, "This is real. This
Yeah.
is good cinema."
And even
I
that,
can't
you
do it.
really have to be in the mood because I've never seen you
No,
do that.
I did it-
That's like the only time I've ever seen
Glenn-
you do
like
that.
And I
Glenn
got
Miller?
drunk, and I was just like smoking weed and
Yeah.
thinking it was hilarious to watch an old He-Man movie, and it was fucking fun.
So if Paul said that I have an amazing movie, it's sci-fi, you've never seen it, it's from 1997, would you watch it?
listen.
Which one?
If Paul really said to me,
This is just hypothetical.
What's like Species came out.
let's say,
yeah, maybe. Okay, let's say it was Species and you haven't seen it.
Sorry, go.
let's say we were having this really great convo about what I like, and I'm telling him all my favorite movies, and he says, I've just heard all your favorite movies, the ones you love. Look, I have all your favorite movies tattooed on my back because they're my favorite movies. But there's one movie you haven't seen,
Damaged Goods.
and it's called whatever, The Eyeball from 1997 or 87. Let's say it was even
The Eyeball sounds
77.
great.
Love it.
The Eyeball, 1977. He's just like, based on your favorite movies, you have to see this movie. Doesn't matter what year. I would watch it because that sounds like the kind of reco that you're like, oh, this guy really gets my thing.
Just for everyone listening, I don't feel like that's accurate because I can't see you throwing on like some like 70s movie.
No, if he said, based on your favorite movies, this movie started this genre. This is incredible. I'm saying almost any year I probably would watch it. You're right. If it was 70s, I wouldn't take it very seriously.
Because I'm more into some old movies, so
Are you
I think
asking
that
me?
I
No,
should
no.
start.
Oh, good.
I should start introducing you to some great old movies if you're open to it.
Yeah, there's so many movies out
But
there.
if you're talking about many of them, well, now we're talking about a lot of willpower. And the question is, do I want to exert that amount of willpower?
See, that's what I'm saying. It gives.
Do you want to introduce me to
have
one
take-
movie? I could do one movie.
You have to take more effort to want to watch it. Why does it take so much effort?
This
Just
is
watch it.
way more interesting than this. Is what movie? If you could give me one old movie that you want me to watch, what would it be?
So this isn't 70s. This is
any era.
Buffalo 66.
I've
Paul, do you know
seen
Buffalo
it, though.
66?
yeah, I see that.
I've seen
So that's
it.
like
Is that
one
with
of my.
Christina
That's one of
Ricci?
my. You've seen it?
I've seen it.
I thought you said you hadn't
No,
seen
you
it.
told me to watch it, so I watched it.
Yeah, get that
No,
Gretzky.
you keep mixing it up with a
No,
different
I watched
movie.
that one too. That one made me concerned about your mental health. But I also watched Buffalo 66.
So let's talk about that story.
Sure.
So I hope that some of our listeners have seen the movie Killer Joe with Matthew McConaughey.
so fucked
Matthew
up.
McConaughey, that's how you say it, right?
know
McConaughey.
McConaughey?
McConaughey.
Hey.
Hey. Have you seen Killer Joe with Matthew McConaughey?
Negative.
What's the
Okay.
basic premise? What's the back
So
of the
the
DVD?
basic premise
His name
is
is Joe.
he's a contract killer. He's an assassin. I
Good
can't.
start. Good start. Good wholesome start.
Yeah,
Reel
and
me in.
there's just some crazy scenes in it that are just like, wow.
So-
I can't give too much away.
No. So what would the back of the DVD say?
The back of the DVD would say that he's an assassin killer, and he takes a guy's like little sister as like collateral, I guess it would be, and then like causes turmoil for their family. I guess
Sure.
that would be the back of the DVD.
And the fucked up thing about it is there is some sexual energy between an adult and a
Yes,
not
but I
adult.
mean, yes, but the actress is of age, so
Well, I'm just saying that's what's
Yes. Yes.
taboo about this movie.
That's what's taboo about it. And the last scene in it is a phenomenal scene that I think everyone should watch. It's amazing.
Just the final scene?
The final scene.
But
Well,
so
no, you
watch
should
them-
watch the whole movie.
Oh, okay.
But the final scene is what made me be like, wow, this is a great movie.
So Jess recommended I should watch this movie really early in our friendship.
no, on our first date.
There we go.
So he
That's
watched it
super
like
early.
the day after meeting me.
And I cannot think of another movie that would make you think twice about going out with somebody again more than this movie. And so obviously she's the girl of my dreams. Here we are many years later with a podcast. But I legit was watching
He
it
was
thinking
concerned.
like, oh, this girl's probably broken.
Yeah, and he didn't shy away from telling me that on the second date.
Yeah.
He was just like, I did not like that movie.
No.
Like, what was that? Why did you recommend that to me? And I didn't only recommend it. I brought him the DVD, and I was like, you need to watch
She
this.
owned
Yes.
she owned the collector's edition in like a leather
no,
bound
no,
case.
no.
Came with a whip.
I had just
Nothing to do with
watched
the movie.
it.
It came with a whip and a butt plug with a little Warner Brothers symbol.
I had just watched it, and I was really excited about it. I find it. So, do you like Buffalo 66?
Yeah, I mean, I can't
I
remember
find it
like
kind
most
of-
of it off. I know. Is it?
Like
Yeah, I
similar,
remember it.
like a lot
Obscure
of
seen
dark
it.
movies with Jess Roberts.
I do like obscure movies. I like obscure, weird, perverted movies.
with. That's my explosion duck.
Jess, get your phone out.
Okay,
Get it out.
it's out.
What's something we've never tried to buy that if we talk about it, Facebook might try to sell us?
Oh yeah, I love this. I've heard
Okay?
about this.
You've heard about
once.
this. So
try
let
that.
me think for a second. What's something we've never tried to buy a boat?
No.
Or listen to "I'm on a boat."
Okay, so make sure the phone is within our
Okay.
proximity.
So, do I have to press anything, or
I think
So
maybe
open the app and
maybe
close
just
the
open
app.
Facebook
Yeah.
and put it on the timeline like you're just like had it open on the
Just
desktop.
go search. Do a little scroll.
Okay.
Do a little scroll.
And then meanwhile, it's
I'm
talking
Jessica.
about how we want a boat.
I really want a boat.
I would also
Love a boat. Go fishing?
a fishing trip.
We should purchase a boat.
I would purchase a boat.
SNL digital shorts?
Look, here's the question: where would you put your boat?
In a harbor.
Oh, a harbor. That's where boats go.
That is where boats.
I heard about that.
Okay, so the question is, now we see an ad that's like, are you in the market for a boat?
Yeah. Can Facebook hear us? That's what this segment is called. Can Facebook hear our talking?
Yeah. It seems like it sometimes, doesn't it?
I wish I knew you were going to talk about that today because I had a few specific examples that I now cannot recall of
that's
times
okay.
when I talked about something and then Facebook brought it up. This one isn't that good, but I'm going to say it anyways because it's pretty vague and it could happen to anybody. But I was talking about Fiji water because I was at an event where Fiji water was sponsoring it. And I didn't post anything about this event or whatever, but I just said to Anthony, I think I brought home a bottle of Fiji water. And I was like, oh, Fiji sponsored the event. So I got a free bottle of fucking Fiji water or whatever.
Oh, nice.
And literally right after I said that, I went on my Facebook and there was like ads for Fiji water everywhere. And I've never seen, as far as I know, I've never seen an ad for Fiji water
Fiji
before.
doesn't make ads, which is funny. It's an actual historical fact.
And I said Fiji water so many times, they should definitely send us money back.
So this happens to me a whole bunch. So for example, there's a product and I can't remember the name, but what it is, it's this little circle thing that you put on the back of your phone, and when you're holding your phone, you slide your fingers in it.
Kids have it.
And it like keeps it on the back of your hand, and you don't drop your phone. It's called like a phone nickel or something. It's got some weird name. Anyways,
more like a quarter.
But so I'm in Indiana hanging out with my boy T-Zank, Ben Frankie, and some of these guys in Indiana. And Ben's showing me this thing. He's like, bro, look, you never drop your phone. When you're walking, you can literally like text and like, you just don't, you don't got to worry about dropping your phone when you be rolling around. The next day, I see an ad for it. I never heard of this thing in my life. And the next day I'm on Facebook. They're advertising this product that I just learned about during a 20-minute stoned rant like we're having right now.
Here's
you know
the
what I mean?
follow-up question.
Yeah.
Do you think that you noticed the ad because you now know about that product and previously he would have just scrolled past it and not even thought about it?
I know about that phenomenon, but I just feel like, I'm on.
Do you know what I mean, Paul? Like, do you think that maybe that ad was always there and he just didn't notice it before, and now
I'm
that
on
he
Facebook,
knows what
I'm
it
on
is?
You buy
Facebook
a
a lot. I
car,
wouldn't
you see a
notice.
car, and then you buy a car.
Yeah,
you see a car
yeah.
everywhere
You're like,
kind of
oh,
thing.
that's a Pontiac 6000.
I have that exact Pontiac 6000 in Ruby.
And people have said that that's one of the reasons why you think you talk about something and then you see it on Facebook because it's more present of mind, and then you just notice an ad that maybe you would have otherwise missed. And sure, that makes up for a percentage.
Or is
of
that
it.
just the Facebook agenda that they want you to think
that's
that,
it, man.
and they actually are listening to us?
And that might be, but here's the thing, that might even be responsible for a part of it. But it happens often enough. And I don't know that it's, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and this is probably the closest I've ever been to believing in a conspiracy. And it's just with such frequency that it happens. And then other intelligent people I respect are like, yeah, it's weird, man. I was just talking to my sister about this thing, and now Facebook's constantly showing me ads for that thing. And so the only reason that makes me skeptical is I really struggle thinking about down at Facebook's head office, them having like a secret department that deals with like audio recognition, and they're selling ads to Endy mattresses going, we're going to listen whenever someone says they're not comfortable when they sleep, and we're going to, and then they've got to hide that information, and they're up late like running the fucking contracts through the shredders and shit. You know what I mean? So I struggle with that kind of conspiracy angle.
To this old shredder because they don't give us all.
But I tell you, it's weird as fuck when you and I are having a convo about something, and then 10 minutes later, it's like,
yeah, it does happen.
Make your
often.
own wine.
Like I said,
just talked about making our own wine.
I wish
5
that
minutes
I
ago.
wish I
Or
had
just-
more examples because it's happened so many times, and I know this is no news to anybody. I know that I've seen memes about it. You know what I mean? Everybody feels like Facebook is listening. So is Facebook listening? I want to know.
We're watching you, Facebook.
I don't
Mark,
even care, to be honest.
Watch your back.
I don't care. I'm not one of those people who cares that much. I don't really care. We're ever doing a podcast where I talk about cake farts. Like, I don't care about my privacy, but I just want to know,
I want to send an open letter to Mark Zuckerberg.
Send one.
Can I send an open letter to Mark Zuckerberg?
Should type one up.
No, I want to send it right now. I have a message from Mark Zuckerberg. Here's my message from Mark Zuckerberg. I feel like he's really still on the line of he hasn't really done anything that makes him super good, a la Bill Gates, where he's really become this philanthropist and most of his actions benefit the world. Or is he going to prove and be one of these tech billionaires who's kind of like, I don't give a fuck. They're not great for the environment. They're not great for small business. And Zuckerberg's kind of there in the middle. And every now and then something Facebook does makes me feel weird. But then he seems to respond with a little bit of empathy. For example, this last year, Facebook got really poisoned with fake news and this new trend of Facebook being about misinformation. You know what I mean? And then what does Mark Zuckerberg do? He says he's going to spend the entire year trying to fix Facebook and rid it of this problem. So that tells me he understands the situation, has empathy to what's wrong with the platform, and to me that makes him a good guy. And so when we talk about is there a situation where they might be listening and using it to sell ad sales, it's like that would be definitively something that makes him a problem. You know what I mean? And I feel that way right now about Zucks. I feel that way about Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos is the Amazon guy.
Yeah.
I have no reason to believe Jeff Bezos is evil.
I never heard of this guy.
He's the richest guy in the world.
Oh, yeah?
Richest man in the world owns Amazon.
I am a history professor.
That's
at the,
okay.
Okay, no.
I'm a current
the dog
time
game.
professor. It's just interesting. These are two of the most powerful people in the world, and right now there are conspiracy theorists who are like, "You're crazy. They're evil as fuck." But I don't have any reason to believe either of them are evil. But I would be really upset to find out that somebody was.
Yeah.
That Zuckerberg's got this, like, because Facebook is a big part of my life. This podcast exists on Facebook. My lyric video business exists on Facebook. I interact with my fans on Facebook. Facebook owns Instagram, where we get most of our new podcast listeners from. And it would make me really upset to find out that the guy who runs that empire, we don't agree with his energy. And as
Yeah,
of right
for
now,
sure.
that's not the case. But for example, if we suddenly read tomorrow an article on a news website that's like definitive proof that Facebook's listening, it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
The platform we use to connect with the people we love in the world is run by potentially this evil billionaire.
But is it his fault? Because like he
Of course it's his fault.
He got put. No, he was just a kid from university that made a social.
But now
so
he's
everybody
a
be connected.
grown-up.
Now, no, but it doesn't matter. He made this thing, but now he's gonna.
matter. It
I
does
know,
matter.
I know.
He's a
but-
grown-up now.
It's true.
Think
I know
about
what you mean. It gets
You know what I
away
mean?
from you a little bit,
Well,
where
like,
it's
no,
just
he's
like,
I just created a platform people can talk to each other. How am I into politics now?
Yeah,
just
no,
because they
it's
get
true.
just because people pass information doesn't mean has anything to do with me. I just created an open
You're right.
portal.
So I think what you're bringing up is the question is, I believe that once
gotta be serious
once
there.
something gets really big, once it gets to a certain size,
Right.
now you become responsible for certain things because it's like, hey, this is now the way the humans talk to each other.
Yeah.
So every decision you make affects humankind.
like you said,
on a global
now
scale.
he's in politics. He didn't even mean to, but now he's
Exactly.
somehow
What
in
happens
politics.
if he drops one of his data sticks on his keychain? He drops one. He's like, "Oh, there's the audio thing that tell the world that we're not supposed to." Like a bad villain that tells you what he's gonna do to you before he kills you.
Yeah.
no matter what, those guys are powerful.
Lasers.
Freaking laser beams.
No matter what, Zucks is powerful. Like he's inherently powerful because he runs Facebook. No matter what, Bezos is powerful. He runs Amazon, which essentially is the biggest company distributing products on the planet. And so with that power, automatically, I'm sure.
Oh,
wow! I love that.
Oh, jeez.
I love that slow motion. I'm gonna slow mo that whole clip. With that power, I'm sure both of them have done horrible things, squashed businesses. Facebook's responsible for Russian political ads, but the guys don't seem to me to be inherently evil.
Yeah.
And right now, I know the political-minded conspiracy theorists are flipping out because they're just like, "You're crazy! Zuckerberg is in the pocket of the Illuminati."
So one of the people in the 100 fans at the moment, soon to be 1 million, probably next
what would
week.
100 fans say?
You know what? But in a week it'll be 1 million because like, oh, Paul Fedj on the show. Oh, sweet man. Can't wait for Paul Fedj to come around these parts. But what happened to his voice? He went through a helium factory and started sounding like somebody else or Pop Cat Gold. Anyway, what you're saying that was
You just had a meltdown.
What I said last episode was that it'd be really cool if, like, this is just our second episode, but maybe at our 100th episode, there's like binge watchers who are like, I'm gonna go all the way back
Watch
to
them
the
all.
beginning.
Watch them all.
Yeah, here's
And then
Paul.
they watch
like, where? Look how wow. He's like, is he even, like? What does he even do?
They're like, what kind of fucking guests did they have on in episode 2?
Exactly. They got like, oh, they got Tom Cruise now. They got Mel Gibson. They got Indiana Jones portraying as Harrison Ford's hat. Like they got.
No, you're right.
They got the guy who was in the Old Spice commercial.
Yeah.
Our guests in the future are going to be so big.
So
then look at me.
I'd like to talk about one more thing before we go on to our Soundhound game.
I love it.
Which Paul, did
There's
you
games?
Did you make it to the end of
didn't.
our last
He
episode?
didn't, so he
You
doesn't know what's
did
coming.
you?
No, I jumped. I jumped in the middle
So
of the
here's the
party.
thing.
did you see the game at the end?
I might have missed some.
It's all right. It's all right. But we're gonna now we're just gonna put you on the spot, so it's okay. But before we do that, I'd like to talk about going for walks. Not with dogs, just humans going for walks together. Paul, do you ever like go for a walk?
Can I have a spell check on walk, please?
That's WALK. as in water.
Yes.
A as in auntie.
Yeah.
N as in Nancy.
Okay.
T as in talcum powder.
Ah, good old. That's a good tea.
Want? You spelled want.
Oh, I already messed it up.
Yeah, and I didn't even pay attention.
Walks. The words walks. The words
Like
walks.
W-O-K?
As in walk down the street. No.
Jessica,
Walk this way.
did you just spell walk wrong?
You can't go back now. This is kind of recorded.
Spell. We're gonna bring this back with like subtitles.
I was too focused
spell
on that.
walk. Want. Yeah.
You're
okay.
right. And I'm like,
Well, that's great. I'm
good spelling. You're like,
Okay, I want to
From
go.
the top,
I
from
want
the
to go
top,
for a
from the
walk.
top.
No. Okay, we're not starting that over. Do you go for walks, Paul? Not WOKS, like WALK.
Also not WOX.
Do you go on walks ever?
I'm actually a runner.
You run sometimes?
I run I try to run like 3-4 times a week.
Do you have a girlfriend?
No, I don't.
Okay.
down,
If you
Jess.
did,
Slow down.
Whoa.
if you did,
Where
I'm
is
like,
this, is this Bumblebee?
like-
The local hive is about
Do you-
20
you
minutes
go
from
on
here. It's a big
runs?
orgy. Thank you, Bumble. The local hive has many pollination
okay, Paul.
preferences for your flower.
Paul,
Go on.
if you had a girlfriend and she said, "Hey, do you want to go for a walk?"
Yeah.
Would that seem like a foreign concept to you, or would you just be like, "Yeah, let's go for a walk"? And
Yeah, I could dig a walk.
you could dig a walk.
Yeah.
So Anthony doesn't like walks unless they lead to a specific destination.
Well said, Jess. Well said.
Yeah, do you want to elaborate, babe?
I would like to elaborate, Jessica, my love of my life. Let's talk for a minute about what life is. The only thing I can control is my time. Time is the one currency that is actually real. And I personally don't want to waste that time walking in circles just to get back to the destination I started in. Now, if we are talking about exercise, I do have preferred methods of exercise. Like I like to run. That's my favorite kind of exercise. I don't do a lot of it right now. I will, full disclosure. But when I'm exercising, I want to exercise and do exercise things. Jessica is like, let's walk. And if she got her way, she would be like, let's walk up a hill, around, then back down the hill, and back where we started. And for me, that's just not a valuable use of that time. Because what do you want to do? Is it about bonding? Because we could bond doing something way more fun than walking up a hill, in my personal opinion. If it's about nature, I would personally rather smoke a joint and lie by the beach and read a book. If it's about exercise, I'd rather go for a run, get it over quicker, get my time back, and move on to something else fun. That's my thing. That's my 2 cents. Running, overwalking,
And,
get your time back, get your exercise, have more time to do other fun stuff.
I'll also add that Anthony is like this in many aspects of life where he
Yes,
he gets very impatient with wasting any time on anything.
We're dying,
Whether
fam.
that's
Fam,
waiting
we're dying.
in lines, waiting in traffic.
Every day we
And I
dying.
mean nobody likes waiting in lines and
No.
waiting in traffic, but Anthony is specifically
I'm hyper aware of the fact
Yeah.
that we're dying.
yeah.
And I'm not trying to waste my time. That's it. Honestly, that's what it is. Like, I'm 35, and I just feel like 10 seconds ago I was 19 years old. And it sounds stupid, but every time someone's like, hey, no big deal, I'm 3 hours late for something, I'm like, 3 hours late, bro, that's like 1/8 of a day. and I only have 365 of those before I'm 36. And that might sound stupid, but that's
sure.
kind of how my brain works.
But to me, if we're going to be sitting at home talking in front of the TV or listening to music or whatever it is, why not change up our environment a little bit and go for a walk and do that same conversation that we would have while we're getting exercise? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I don't understand is why wouldn't you want to change up your environment while you're doing
But in
the
the
same
city,
talking?
walking in the city compared to walking like out in like the
I don't like
woods.
walking anywhere.
Yeah, but city is like it's just like that cold.
But it's
brick
different.
and
It's
concrete.
different when, for example, when I'm in Europe and I need to when I was in Germany, for example, and I was hanging out at my hotel, and a friend of mine was like, "Let's hang out, smoke some weed. I'm gonna play you some German hip hop." And so I saw where he lived, and it was 20 minutes across town in an Uber, or it was like an hour and 10-minute walk. So I just walked it because that was a functional walk. Like, I'll get some exercise, sure. I'll see some of the city. I've never been here before. And I got to get somewhere anyway. So it solves the problem. It saves me a little bit of money.
Yeah.
But it's different if we're, the scenarios I could think of, or like where I'm hanging out at a campsite, or we're sitting somewhere and it's like, hey, do you want to go for a walk? I'm like, nah, I kind of want to just hang out here. We can have fun here. We can talk. We can have a conversation here. And then my legs won't hurt for no reason. And then we're just going to come back to the same spot.
But then
anyways.
it's like, that's exercise, though. Sometimes your legs hurt a little bit from exercise.
That's true. I do need to exercise more.
It's a good pain.
There's simply no denying that. It's good pain. There's simply no denying that. I'm aware of it.
Okay, I want you to do one more thing while I get the game loaded up.
Sure.
Talk about the app that you discovered while you were in Iceland, which Paul also went to.
Oh yeah, I heard you went to Iceland.
I went there in 2016 for the Icelandic Music Festival.
Cool.
I saw some kick-ass hip-hop.
Yeah.
They're hip-hopping in stores, clothing stores. They're hip-hopping in like crazy dungeon bars.
Wow.
I saw these chicks. They're called the Girls of Reykjavik.
Okay.
They're awesome.
Really?
Oh my God, it's like half English, half Icelandic. You can't understand it. They've ripped up the stage.
That's really cool. I've heard a lot. They have 2 festivals there, and they're both really good. I've met some artists that rock those festivals. I haven't got to play any yet. That's one of the things I'm trying to do myself. I love Iceland. So, when I was out there last time, I found out about an app that is super interesting. For people who follow me on social media, you might already heard about this because I went crazy when I found about it. I was just like laughing about it. So basically, this is the app because there's so few people in Iceland, especially like in your like age group and dating and sexual group. That people frequently end up hooking up with a family member by accident.
Oh.
So it's like a second cousin that they just don't know, or maybe it's somebody that's grown up, they haven't seen them in 10 years, and you're drunk at a bar, and then you hook up with them in the bathroom. And so they have an app that what you do is you put in the other person's name, and the app tells you if you can fuck them or not.
Oh my.
So it basically says cousin or no cousin. I don't know what the app's called, but
And correct me if I'm wrong, this is like a pretty regular thing that everyone uses, right?
well, yeah. And when they talk about it, they bring it up that like sometimes it will even say it's your 4th cousin, but good to go. You can go fuck. You know what I mean? Because she's far enough away
There's a
removed.
thumbs up?
Yeah, she's far. Pretty much like this. They said it's far enough removed that you can sleep with that person without, fucking up the population of Iceland.
Oh my.
So that's what it is, man. That's when your population is small. It's just math. Eventually, if everybody fucks 80 people each, and there's only 80,000 people in your age group,
Yeah.
pretty soon you're gonna fuck a cousin.
Yeah.
Yep,
you're gonna do the old.
We don't recommend that here at Damaged Goods. You never want to be that damaged.
don't-
So that's too damaged.
That's too damaged. By the way, I'm not trying to judge, but if you are fucking your cousin, you should think about why. And
There's
maybe
a lot of
bring it back a notch.
non-cousin fish in the sea.
There's so many people that aren't your cousin.
There's a lot of non.
If you don't live in Iceland, there are so many people that aren't your cousin.
Just don't live in Iceland. I love Iceland. They actually don't let you live in Iceland.
No, yeah, they're pretty serious about that.
They are, unless you go to school there, and you can get into school.
You can't just move there.
No, you can't. It doesn't matter how much money you have.
Islands are weird about that.
Sort of, probably.
Like the UK is kind of the same thing. Like when you live and there's limited space, I think the psychology of the island is different. Like we live in Canada, or even if you're listening from America or somewhere in Europe, you don't have that same feeling because there's just like unlimited space. But I think when I lived in England for a short time, you get this sense of like, hey, there's only so much space, so don't take any more of it. You know what I mean? And I think there's probably a little bit of that in Iceland as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, we like our lifestyle with the number of people that are here. We don't want you to fuck that up. We can't expand it anymore.
We did it. It's going good.
Going
don't
great.
fuck with it. You're allowed to come visit.
They love when you visit. They love when you visit.
They really
Outta
love
here.
the visitors.
They do.
What was your favorite thing in Iceland, Paul?
I don't know. Everyone's gorgeous. Everyone.
Yeah, the
Guys.
Did you find that as well?
girls.
Yeah, well, you know what it is? Everywhere you go in the world, people have different features, right? Some of the girls have more upturned noses. Some people have bigger lips. It depends on like whatever the look of the people in that part.
Only
of the planet.
noses and lips. That's the only difference.
That's the only thing. The only two examples.
Well, and what you need to name them all, like hair thickness and height and all these things.
Yes.
But that part of the world has what I think, if you like pretty white girl look, like that section of like Northern Europe kind of has that pegged.
Right.
You know, with like the cute little noses and like the super straight blonde hair. It's like that's kind of the Norwegian Icelandic look.
Right.
And granted, they've got black people and they've got everything. I just mean that's
Not
kind
many,
of-
I've heard.
That's kind of the people. Yeah, not many from the people from that part of the world look like. And so yeah, if you're into that, then of course you're gonna love Sweden. You're gonna love Norway. You're gonna love Denmark. You're gonna love Iceland. That's that kind of pretty white girl part of the world.
So basically, you're racist, is what Anthony said.
Me?
Yeah.
I didn't say anything. I just said.
Wow.
I said they're good looking.
Another racist outed. Great job, Jess.
Wow.
Great job.
I am not.
If somebody had to say it, I didn't want to say it. I was over here sipping my tea.
Isn't
really-
everyone though? It's
A friend of mine said, I really like the quote, and I'm going to totally butcher it, but he was just like, calling a white person racist is like actual racism for black people, as in like
true.
the worst insult for a white person is to call them racist. I thought it was kind of funny.
I guess I don't know. I guess so, right? They're like, no,
No, not me.
not me. oh, God, you caught me in my whitey-ness.
So we're going to play a game now. It's
From
called
racism to Soundhound. Let's do it.
Sound app.
It's called Jess versus Soundhound.
Okay, here it is.
And then after,
what happens?
if you're not too freaked out, Paul, we'll also do Paul versus Soundhound. So basically, really quickly, you guys heard it last time. If you listened to the last episode, this is an app that it's kind of like what was the one called Shazam, where it
Britney
listens.
Spears.
Yeah, that's right.
I watched a bit of
Yeah,
it.
so you did. Okay.
Okay.
So
Sorry.
So basically, we have a bunch
Sorry,
of
listeners.
songs in a little basket here. So I'm gonna pick 3 out, and then I'm gonna pick which one I want to do out of the 3, and then I'll give you guys an opportunity to guess first, and then we'll let you know if the app guessed it correctly or not. And then if you're down, Paul, I would love to see you do it as well.
Oh, go for it.
Here we go.
Am I guessing or am I just
Can you
not?
give me
You're
a
gonna guess
theme
first.
song for Jess versus
I guess
Soundhound? A theme song
you
for
give us a
Jess
little
versus
theme song? I like a good old Gregorian chant.
Let's do it.
Am I supposed to guess something?
Yeah, no, you're gonna give us a little theme song. Give us
Oh, a
little
theme
music.
song.
Give us a little theme music.
Oh, Gregorian chant. She's picking the guns. She's doing the thing with the yellow paper.
That's the strangest
Okay.
theme music I've ever
So
heard.
that was great.
like that?
So I have my song. So I'm gonna sing it, and when I say go to you guys, you can guess. You can guess what song it is.
You're up. You're guessing, Paul. This is you.
It's just
So
me?
sorry. You're not actually singing it. You're just humming it, or do, or la la laing it.
Jess will show you.
Okay.
Jess will show you the
Is
first
this a
one.
test? Is this a test?
She's gonna do it for you to guess.
Hold on, I have to stop and restart it just because I false started it there. Okay. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Okay. So, do you guys know what song that was?
Make a
Yeah, so Anthony knows.
change.
You know what song it was, Paul?
Na, 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 na,
That is a negatory.
You don't know.
Not
Wow.
a. I think I do. It sounds familiar.
I'm
80
talking to the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways.
Okay, so Anthony
No message.
wins.
Anthony guessed it correctly.
What did I? Did I get a point? Do you get a point?
Want to make
Yeah, so he gets a point.
take a look in and make a change. The joint went flying. The joint went flying.
Oh no.
Where did I go?
Are you serious?
It did.
Okay,
It went flying.
the
when I
joint
clapped.
went flying and is currently burning our carpet.
No, it wasn't lit. It was an unlit joint.
Oh, that's cool.
You guys keep playing. I'm gonna look for the joint.
Okay, so that song was "Man in the Mirror" by Michael Jackson. The app did
Oh, that's
guess
so
it
weird.
correctly. So from my terrible singing, it knows.
My first tape I've ever had was bad Michael Jackson on my Walkman.
I'm surprised you didn't know that. Am I a terrible singer? Is that why you didn't know?
Well, kind of. I don't want to be rude. I
Okay.
don't want to be rude.
Okay, so I want you to pick 3 of these from the basket.
3. Is
And
that
then-
one more than 1 and 1 less than 4?
It's 2 more than 1.
2 more than 1 and 1 less than 5?
2 less than 5.
I just want to make sure you're on your ball here.
Yeah, I know my maths.
Or not, but not so much your English. Do I get to look at them?
Yeah, so you can look at them. So out of those 3 that you just picked,
Hell out of here.
Anthony still hasn't found the joint, by the way, to any
It probably
listeners.
went I think it went back. I think. Oh, that sucks.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, he found it.
Okay,
It's under
so
the chair. It's under
so
the
out
chair.
of the three that you've picked, pick your favorite one to do, and I will cue you when you're ready to sing it.
Oh, how
and
does
sorry,
that-
you don't actually sing it. You just la 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 or da da da
Hum it or
or
scat
hum.
it. That's one or the other.
Yeah, you could scat.
Ba-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Okay, I think I can do this.
Okay, let's do it.
I think I can do this.
Okay, give me a 3, 2, 1.
I'm gonna give yourself an old 3, 2, 1.
I know what it is.
So, I also know what it is.
You do?
I do.
Who wrote these?
You want to do the honors?
One is
your favorite
the
song?
loneliest number that you ever heard. Two could be as bad as one.
It's the loneliest night.
That's my favorite, like, sarcastic song to sing.
I didn't know
just
that
walk
was
around
Three
singing that
Dog
song
Night. I
sarcastically.
fucking love Three Dog Night.
I didn't know it was Three Dog Night either, Jess.
Is that not
It is
not
Three Dog Night.
No
Wow, we
way.
learned.
I'm
We're
pretty sure.
learning here.
Is that really?
Listeners, am I wrong? Am I wrong?
How many
Is it
dog
Three
nights
Dog
is
Night?
it? Is it 2 dog nights? Is it 4 dog
Is that
nights?
one more than
How many?
two and one?
No, I have a question. How many human nights is a dog night?
Oh, good.
You know what I'm saying?
good
So it's
thought.
3 dog nights. Is that like 21 human nights?
Yo,
I think that's what it
insane.
is.
They must
7
have
times,
some
right?
great sleep.
Okay, so that's my last question. Jess, what you got?
Sorry, I was just distracted by our dog with the cone on her head
Yes.
bumping into all of our
That's true.
equipment right now.
Let's take a picture of that. That looks pretty. It's pretty funny.
That's all I got.
Okay.
Wait,
So
Are we at a good time to wrap up?
Instagram.
are we doing an Instagram now?
Are we at a good time to wrap up?
Yeah, for sure.
Condoms brought to you by Rapid.
We're at 1:30.
1:30. I'm cool with that. So to wrap up, Jess is going to give you all Paul's social media info in a minute, but you can follow us, Damaged Goods Pod, everywhere. We're on SoundCloud, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on iTunes. Whatever app you have, if you have, I have Beyond Pod on my phone. I think on Apple phones it's called Podcast or Podcast. Whatever app you have, if you just type in Damaged Goods Pod, all one word, we come up. You can also just type Damaged Goods, but there's some older podcasts, and there's like a guy named Jake the Snake who has a podcast called Damaged Goods too, and so you'll find those as well.
Yes.
But if you put Damaged Goods Pod all one word, that's kind of like the hyperlink to us, and so that's how you can find us on your podcast app.
And please send us stuff you want us to talk about, comments on stuff we have already talked about. If you have an opinion on that, we'd love to hear
If we
it.
fucked up something up horribly and we got it completely wrong.
Yeah,
tell
like
us.
if one is the loneliest number is not 3 Dog Night, let me know, because I'm pretty sure it is. Paul, so where can we find you, Paul?
I am elusive. I'm like a night hawk in the daytime. I am pre-mortal, as my old friend Hen used to say.
Wow.
There are times in my life when I've never felt so alone, but yet I'm surrounded by loved ones. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Fedj. You can find me, I guess, at Schizo TV on Instagram, or at JDef, spelled like T-T-E-A, J-E-A, Def, D-E-F. It's my last name backwards, but with an E and an A. Good luck finding that one.
Wow, that's really complicated.
And that's all I have to say to you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to take a little sip of my beer into the microphone. You going to hear that?
Thanks again to Rafino Espresso. Delicious coffee.
Lyricvids.com.
Lyricvids.com.
Come see me April 20th in Toronto. If you're listening from California, I have a bunch of dates from March 1st to the 16th. I think those are the dates. But it's on all my socials. Hit me up if you're in San Diego, LA, Hollywood, Santa Cruz, San Jose, or San Francisco. Of course, Toronto. Much love. Elite out. Pop, pop, pop.
Bye.